Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Something Something podcast. My name's Eric Kasloff, and with me, as always, is Larry Sands. Say hello, Larry.
Hello, Larry.
And
How are you?
how are things going for you, buddy? Because you've done a big move since we've last talked. Well,
Yep, kind of, sort of.
By the time this gets posted, but it's still new.
Right. Yeah. I'm back in Texas for a little minute. So depending on the time of month or whatever that everybody's listening to this, but been back in Texas doing some shooting and editing here, and I'm with my mom, and so we're here hanging out, and we're frying like a piece of bacon here. It's hot and humid. And did I mention it's hot? It's super hot.
I think
yeah,
you mentioned
it's a little cray-cray.
It's pretty hot, huh?
Yeah, just a little. I mean, just
Not
a
too much,
smidge.
but, yeah.
No, yeah, nothing to write home about, really. But yeah. So, but I must say, being in the heat, it keeps you glistening. I guess would be the best word. It keeps you moist, I guess, on your face, and your legs. Anyway, so how are you doing?
I am doing very well. As we're recording this, a few days ago, I finished the first draft for Hillsborough Road. It came in at 70 pages, so right now I'm trying to work in an extra 10 pages, and I'm really happy with it right now. So far, only one person out of the three that I've sent it to has gotten back to me, and it's not you. Someone who I wrote a part for Reddit. We talked last night. They gave me some great notes about it, and I am really excited about getting this thing going. And by now, the update videos on where we are at with the script should be up now. So definitely go and check those out.
Yep, and where can it on our YouTube? Correct?
On my YouTube and on the something YouTube.
Okay, perfect. And the links will be in the description.
Oh yeah.
But now here's the bigger question, because remember, over the last couple of days we've been talking real quick about telemarketers and marketing calls.
Oh yes.
And man, you have got, now everybody knows, everybody that's listening to this, you get the telemarketer call, and it's, when you want to answer, and hang up, and you try to say in a nice way, hey, look, I don't have it, or you just start yelling at them. Either way, they hang up on you. But I think you've come up with a very creative way to address those calls.
Oh,
and
yeah,
please, by all means, tell our listeners.
One of them called me a couple days ago about student loan. Now, the thing is, I went to a community college, so I don't have a student loan. So when they got on, my first words to them were, my neighbor's dog said, you're the one who could help me. Then one of them called me about the warranty on my car, and that's not going on. So when the person got on, I said, hey, let me ask you a question. If Doc Brown showed...
Okay, wait. Now, when you asked them the question, let me answer your question.
Oh, they hung up.
What
they
was the
hung up
response?
when I said that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you never got to ask them? Ah, man.
So the next one that called was, again, talking about car warranty. So I asked them, hey, man, if Doc Brown showed up in the DeLorean and took me back in time, would I be able to fix my car warranty? And they hung up on me.
No word. Now they're hanging up on you, Eric. That's funny. Well, I tell you what.
There's one more.
Well, go ahead. Yeah, okay, tell me. Yes. Yes.
One called my mom's cell phone, and she knows that I'm doing this now. So I answer it. The person says their name. I ask her to repeat it. Then I start crying and go, Mom, you found me? You put me up for adoption, but you found me.
And
And I think
did
at this
did
point, our guest has hung up
well,
because he realized we're too immature for him.
right. Well, but see, this is like a perfect segue because we're talking about, marketing calls and telemarketing. Maybe this is a good segue or not. But let me introduce our guest, and I'll ask him. Our guest today is Gary Brose. Hi, Gary. How are you?
I'm okay. I was just fascinated listening to your chat.
That's good.
I almost understood part of it.
That's hilarious. Now I must say, so you're not only an author and a speaker, you're an entrepreneur as well. But what would you say you're mostly focused on? Because I know you have a business novel that is out.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's dig into who you really are.
Uh-oh. We don't want to go there.
Exactly. Exactly.
I worked for FedEx when I got out of college. Just kind of dropped in there for a job, right? Worked for them for 5 years, kind of got the bug. They let me manage different cities, even though I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Never took a business class in college, right? I wasn't going to be a business guy, but anyway, I enjoyed it. So when I left FedEx, I moved back to Seattle and found a company to buy. And I just, have gone on from there. I bought a small delivery company, and I still own that one and 3 others today.
Wow.
And that's what I've been doing for 40 years, although I've also, just kind of enjoyed business in general. So I started up a bunch of other companies, a computer games company,
Wow.
a indoor amusement park,
Wow.
office supply companies, road repair, a bunch of other things, right? Just for the heck of it. And looking to catch lightning in a bottle somewhere, which I did now and then I failed a bunch of other times. But that's how it works. And so now I'm writing about it and talking about the things that were successful for me, that helped me grow as a person and as a business person. And I'm trying to focus primarily on that now and segue out of the delivery business.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of the things about our podcast, and we talk to we focus because we call it our creative podcast because we talk to writers and actors and so on and so forth. But it's always interesting to hear the other side of life because being a creative, it's always hard, to work and to make money at being creative full time until you get to that certain point. So it's always good to hear, backstories of everybody. And your story really is no exception because from what I gathered just from your awesome little brief intro, you really, and actually I should say before I go on, before I forget what I'm going to say, is that's what really life is all about. It's not about going, oh, I don't really know how to do it. I don't think I can. When it's handed to you like it was with you, but I'm sure it sounded like you just jumped at the chance.
I did, and I just kind of, I don't know how I came about this, where I kind of got the idea that it's okay to fail, which it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to put yourself out there and say, okay, I might be able to make this work, and I might not, but I'm not going to stand on the sidelines and let somebody else do it. And it's kind of contagious. After you've done it a few times, you're not nearly as afraid. You start looking at it and going, well, I don't know much about this particular industry, but I see a void in the market, and I'll give this a shot. And I mean, just with my amusement park, right? It was an indoor amusement park because this is Seattle. It rains here.
Yeah.
A lot,
Yeah.
right? So So, but the main thing I did is I'm looking around and I'm going, God, when I live in these other cities, we could go out and play miniature golf, right? Now there's no miniature golf in the Seattle area. And so I thought, avoiding the market. So I bought a couple of golf courses, all these little wooden things you put together, and rented a big warehouse, put them in there along with some other stuff, and started up. And about 18 months later, I was on the edge of the cliff and ready to declare bankruptcy because I was going down the hill. And we pulled off a couple of little changes and did some stuff and rescued it, and it turned into a cash cow for 10 years.
Wow.
So,
wow.
That was a good one, although to begin with, it looked like the biggest mistake I'd ever made. But we filled the void.
Yeah. That's one thing too, is I know for me, being a creative and having to do other jobs and this and that, and worrying about, everything else at that point. And so let's talk about this, because I know people listening, they have like regular day jobs and then they do the creative thing whenever they can, and they're trying to pursue. And I think one of the things for myself, especially, now, like talking to our guests, it's all about really perseverance, isn't it?
I think so. My wife and I both joke about it. I'm not the smartest guy on the block. Most of my wins have come to me because I've just hung in there. And we keep plugging away. We keep trying something, right? And it's like, okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. And the delivery companies were the same way. I didn't pay myself for the first year and a half. And we had to, build up the business, and I had to motivate the employees and try and get more bang for my payroll buck, because that was killing me. And so I ended up focusing on that, and that's what kind of led me to my career now, where I'm writing books and about the things that we did, about building bonus programs and engaging the employees and maximizing productivity. And I learned those things over time because I kept hanging in there and kept trying. And the fact is that a lot of things I tried failed. I mean, constantly. And yet, every time I failed, I always thought, God, I'm so close. I just need to go. I just made a little tweak here. I'll just change this a little thing, and then it'll be perfect. Well, it was 25 years later when I'm still saying that to myself, right? And then I finally started connecting, and it started working right. And I can't, if anybody told me I was going to spend 25 years trying to develop the perfect formula for bonus programs, I would have said, you're crazy. I'm not going to do that. Wow. But at the time, as you're doing that stuff, it feels like, okay, I'm close. I'm close, right? I just have to keep plugging away. And then you don't get all depressed and bummed out because you think you're close. You always think you're closer than you actually are.
Yeah, I always like to think of failing as just success training, because you're just learning how not to do that one thing.
I know lots of things not to do, so it works.
The thing that so far, out of all the stuff you've said so far, that really stands out to me is finding a void and filling it. I think a lot of people nowadays would rather complain about there not being something that they want to see rather than doing it, because it's much easier to sit on your couch and do that. But actually thinking, hey, you know what? There's no miniature golf courses here, and actually putting effort into it, that is such a commendable thing. And wow, that's such a bold, brave step, because then when you look back and you think about it, it just makes sense. Families are going to want to go do that. I loved miniature golf as a kid. And for you to just have the foresight to think, yeah, there's a void right there that needs to be filled, and to actually do it. Wow, my hat's off to you.
Well, it didn't seem as obvious totally at the time, and I had some long conversations at home about whether this was really a great idea or not, because I really didn't have any experience. And when in that field, interestingly, I'm in the service business. I'm in the service industry pretty much all my life. But that retail or that miniature golf setup was actually a retail business. Whole different strategies, right? And it took me a while to grasp that and realize, I'm going about this all wrong. I got to bring somebody in who knows what they're doing and help me out here because this is a retail product. So, and it helps to have another flow of income coming to you. I have found that I'm more creative when I have less cash flow problems. So, when there's some money coming in, then my creative juices are flowing, and I'm going, I could do that. I could do this. This sounds good. Let's do this. and then, of course, I realize that as soon as the cash flow gets bad, suddenly I'm not very creative and not very brave.
Right.
Tell us about your computer games company, because I am a video game addict, and I would love to know how you're involved in that.
Well, and I'm not anymore. That was one of those failures on my list.
Okay.
But this was back in the 80s.
The boom.
Right? And we were still doing DOS and, no color monitors and the whole shot, right? So what we did is we, a couple buddies and I are sports fans, and we we thought, well, it would be cool to make a football game. And so we designed this football game where the players could buy a franchise for a fee, and then they had choices about how much money they wanted to invest in lineups and the offense and the defense and all this other stuff. They made a bunch of other decisions, spent their money, and then we had the computer match the teams up against each other and play the games. And then we'd mail. This is pre-internet days, right?
Wow.
We would use the post office and mail a printout of all the results of the games, and it looked like a newspaper. I'd write up a little, I'm a frustrated writer, so I'd write up my sports section and put a little article about each game, and it was a blast. We had a great time. We had a real loyal following, but it wasn't really making any money because the cost of advertising was too high, and it was too weird, too new a concept.
I was.
That's like.
If you've
Isn't
ever,
that like a DraftKings type thing?
That's what I was gonna say. If you've ever played fantasy football, baseball, or anything, you need to send this man at least $5 to thank him.
Right, no doubt.
Let's do that. Go fund me.
Right.
No, we were ahead of our time a little bit, and a lot of people didn't get it, and it was, I guess, one of the first versions of fantasy football, but it was fun. We learned a lot, and we didn't lose a lot of money. We kind of broke even almost, but it wasn't a long-term deal.
Well, I tell you. Oh, go ahead.
Still, the fact that you guys thought that far ahead of something, that's really mind-blowing. Wow, my jaw's on the floor right now.
Well, we like sports, right? And we like football, and we were both, a couple of guys and I were just trying to learn how to program. They were way ahead of me. I just outlined it and said, okay, we'd all do this, and here's the formula, and plug it in there, and they made all the hard work happen. But it was fun. It was one of those things, and then it didn't work out, but we learned something from it. And mostly I learned that in the computer industry, if you're not like 100% full-time on that all the time, you can't keep up with all the change. It was moving too fast for us. So.
And even today, it's like if you buy a computer at a store, the second you walk out, it's outdated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about now I see where your passion. I mean, you really are, because you have. It sounds like you've had all kinds of business in different sectors and everything. And one of the main things that I know, I don't run a business, but I do know that when I talk to people and try to manage other people, especially like when we shoot and like production manager type thing, it's hard. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, getting myself up in the morning, that's a business now. But I think it sounds like you've navigated your way and how to deal with those how to deal with every type of business entity in a business, any person, anything that could go wrong. And just let me say that back in the 80s, you were that visionary for the fantasy football. I think you have a visionary idea in how you wrote your book. You put it in like a novel form, right?
Yep.
There's so many questions I want to ask and talk about, but I want you to be able to talk about your book and your experiences and how you put that in. I think it is worth noting before we go on, you are a public speaker and you go out and you do speak to businesses.
Yes.
So if they need to contact you, your link will be in the bio.
Yeah.
But I just want to throw that out there before we get rolling on any more. Because I know, I've been all over the place, but I'm super excited because, this is where people want to be. But I think it's easier thought of than done, really, running a business. And I don't think people know how difficult or rewarding it is. Is that true? False? Anything?
I think so, and that you just have to do it, and it helps in my case, I think, because I'm really truly a generalist. I get a little bored if I'm focusing on one thing and one thing only, or one industry only, and I'm just kind of, I don't want to say I'm scattering my forces, but I'm all over the place a little bit, and most of it comes down to the fact that I'm confident that if I had a good idea, that I could find the right people to make it happen, and so it's people management skills that I have that a lot of people have, and they don't exploit it as well, I think, but that I've been able to utilize and make work for me. And so you find the right people, you motivate them properly, you pay them in such a way that they're motivated to do it on their own and make things happen. And that's what I wrote the book about. This Express Exec is the book. And it's about what we're talking about a little bit here, the pace of change, and how fast things are changing now in every industry. It's not just computer industries. It's changing across the board in so many ways. And like in the delivery business, right, tangentially, you've got companies like Uber that's sprang up out of nothing. And now they're a giant corporation within, 6 years, 8 years, and totally destroyed and changed the taxi business. And you got that kind of thing going on in every industry to some degree. And so you've got to move faster. You've got to get, and the key to moving faster is getting your people on board with you and working with you and not being totally afraid of change, because everybody, frankly, hates change, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes it. So,
I'm the first to admit that, yeah.
Well, and me too. I mean, I find myself working on things that I'm really comfortable with because I already know there's no learning curve here. I can just do this. And I have to focus sometimes, go, no, I got to do some other things here that I don't even know how to do. And things are changing. But when I wrote the book, I wrote it as a novel because what I really want the readers, and this is for like business owners or managers, middle management people that have, dozen or 500 people reporting to them. And it's for the people that have to make change happen relatively quickly. And so I wrote it so that you hear all the conversations between the employees and management about why, I hear their resistance, you feel it, you get the picture, you're feeling the angst and the anger and the fears. And the concept comes through more clearly then. You see what you got to do and how you've got to do it, because I've done it already and I explain that. And I think it hits home more. People get it more when they read the story. Like it's a pretty short novel, but it's, you learn from it as you're reading along from osmosis. So it's different than a typical business book where it says, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3.
This might be, and I'm giggling to myself because it's so true. Because I mean, your book, actually, okay, I don't know what to mention first, so why I'm giggling. So, you know, like you can take a recipe of how to bake cookies and you can read it 4 or 5 times and you still forget it. But if a rap song came out about how to bake cookies, you'd be singing that thing all day. I need I need 2 eggs mixed in the batter with flour and milk and everything else.
Larry,
like,
Larry,
oh my God.
please never do that again, Larry, please.
but still in the same, because I'm looking at your website and it'll be a link in the bio, but it's, you know, your hero of the book, Andrea Lane, and you already start out, she's an interim VP at a struggling company. And already, you know, she's kind of stepping in to a world of mess. You don't know what the mess is, but she's still stepping in it. And now I understand just from what you're saying, and hopefully everybody that is listening to this will actually go to the website and read along, but it puts it in such a way where you're not reading the same old business book. Well, here's what you should do if X happens or Y or Z, but you have a character, and we all live, I guess what I'm trying to say, we all live through the characters and things that we're reading, and as far as novels and even rappers. So, you know, and I just think it's an ingenious way to get your, first of all, your creativity out. But then secondly is to put your knowledge that you've had learned all these years and put it to good use in a way where it makes everybody smarter as a manager or a business owner. I think it's genius. I really do.
Hey,
I
guys.
really do.
Yeah, I'm going to quote you, and I'm going to put that in all my advertising material.
Okay, well, can you tell us a bit more about the character in the book?
I certainly can. Andrea Lane is the interim VP of manufacturing at Juggernaut Industries, of course, totally fictional business. But the key is she's, late 20s, not totally experienced. She's looking at a problem where she has to increase productivity dramatically in order to help save the company. And in order to do that, she rightly comes to the conclusion that she's going to have to make some serious changes and do something different. So this is all aimed towards, business owners or managers of departments that are faced with having to make change quickly in today's world. And after discussing it with her brilliant uncle, who guides her through this whole process, he was very helpful, by the way, explaining everything. So after discussing it with him, she realizes that the bottom line is what she has to do is she has to get to the point where the employees trust her. Okay? And I know I went through this whole same thing myself, where I realized if they just trust me, we can do anything. And it doesn't come overnight. You have to go through a period of time where you are continually keeping your word. And when people do get to the point where they trust you, then you can really move quickly, because you can't do it alone. It's a team effort. So you have to gain the trust of the employee base, and then you have to start making changes. And then the changes that I described that had to be made were all relating to pay. That's scary. That scares a lot of people if you're going to start monkeying with their paycheck. So the book talks about how you do that, because they changed from a regular pay setup where everybody gets paid for showing up to a system where it's pay for performance. And that's a little scary to some people, okay? But I've done that, and that works. But it only works when they trust you. So you have to build the trust up, okay? Right. And there's a couple other techniques in there, including how you do the raises and reviews that are critical. And your goal is to kind of get everybody to bring their A game up and bring it into work every day and be motivated to do that. So you make it into a little bit of a game. We talked about the computer games and stuff, right? I'm a game maker at heart. So in my businesses, I always try to make this stuff as much fun as it could be, right? It's a game. Let's make that goal. Let's do this thing, right? And so anyway, the book is about the process of gaining their trust and getting them to agree and to work with you as they make major change.
Wow, that's cool.
So
Now, at what point? Well, I was just going to say, at what point does Ethan Hawke show up, and there's an earthquake, and the Rock comes and saves everybody from a ticking time bomb?
Yeah, yeah. Although this book does have its little villains and some surprises and plot twists, like any good novel should have, there's no ticking bombs, and it's not that kind of excitement.
Oh, but it's still exciting nonetheless, because honestly, and this is a very serious question. It is thrilling, isn't it, to be a business owner?
It is, because what you get a chance to do is make your own mistakes. And when I left FedEx and moved back to Seattle, one of the reasons I left is because the senior management there at that time was going down the wrong path and doing some things that I just instinctively knew was not right. Not that I had great experience, right? But and my job was, as a manager, was to put a happy face on that and make it sound like a good thing. Well, a little bit of that, and I said, I'm out of here. I'm going to do what I want to do, and there is an empowering sense of that when you are running your own show.
Wow. So to me, what it really sounds like is there's a huge difference between being a leader and being a boss, and that a leader motivates and encourages, while a boss more barks out orders.
Yes. And I talk about that a little bit too. It's, you have to get the people to the point where they are understanding the big picture. My goal was always, I want them to think like I would, even though they're not the owner or the boss, right? And I've learned how to structure their pay so that it appeals to their enlightened self-interest. And when you can appeal to the employees' enlightened, as in educated self-interest, then you can structure it in such a way, their bonuses, their pay level, everything else, so that it's all in concert with the corporate goals. So then when they're making an individual decision on the daily basis within their job, they get the big picture right away, and they go, well, if I do this, it's good for the company, and that means it'll be good for me too personally. And that's where you're trying to get to, right? And then you don't have to bark at them. You don't have to order them around to do things. They're doing it before you've even thought about it.
I like that. Okay.
I like that a lot. I like that. And there's one little word that you just said, and it was instinct. Your instinct. How important is it? How important are instincts in business?
Well, it's a tough one. I mean, sometimes your instincts are wrong, and then you got to hope that you get the instinct that, I went down the wrong path here. I got to reverse, right? And so it's not like your instinct is always spot on. But I think that especially when you act on it, then you're feeling it, right? This is what you want to do anyway, right? Your instinct is driving you that direction, and it's more frustrating to not do it than to do it. So you got to follow your instincts, but you got to keep your mind open too and realize I could be wrong, like I was with the amusement park, right? I didn't understand it was retail, not service. And I should have figured that out like in 2 minutes, but I didn't. So
yeah. How could I phrase this? What you do is so massively important, I think. What level, because I know you had mentioned it before, but and now do you travel all over the country for speaking engagements?
No, I'm mostly doing it here in the Seattle area. You know what? I'm still nurturing my speaking career. I'm sort of married to the business here until I find some better solutions. But I have tried repeatedly for the last 10, 12 years to get myself onto what you'd call the speaking circuit. And it's kind of like a little club where if you're on it, you're in it, and everybody gets to, share in the goodies. I'm not there yet. So I'm writing books. I'm just speaking when I can, and I think I have some solid concepts to share. And I'm focused on, because I'm a small biz guy, I'm focused on, giving them concrete examples and concrete steps to take and how to do this, not generalities. And
right.
I just have confidence that, I just like back to the perseverance thing. You keep plugging away, somebody's going to listen. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Now on your website, and again, that's expressexecbook.com, and the link will be in the description. But I see that like we can sign up for like a blog or newsletter. Talk a little bit more about that. So what happens when we sign up? Because I think this is very good. What kind of information will people get when they sign up?
This is connected. The expressexecbook.com is really obviously just about the book. My website for what I do is called smallbizsherpa.com. So it's www.smallbizsherpa.com. And there's where I talk more about the speaking and the topics and the workshops and the blog. There is a blog there for the expressexec.com, but I'm mostly referring, when they sign up, to having them be part of the Small Biz Sherpa blog and newsletters. And all I'm talking about, honestly, is managing people. Right? Nothing great can be done without managing with and through other people, and you have to learn that skill. I talk at the UW now and then about to the students there about trying not to focus totally on the math or the numbers and the business admin stuff. You're gonna the biggest challenge is managing people and how to motivate them and how to really get them engaged and caring, and that's really what I write about totally and what I speak about.
Do you see yourself as a motivational speaker almost?
I don't see myself, I'm naturally not the rah-rah guy, right? Not my thing. I'm an operations dude, right? and I think in terms of, okay, how do I make this seamless? How do I just organize this so well that I don't have to think about it anymore, and neither does anybody else. It just happens. And it's a little less sexy than the typical rah-rah, you can do it type thing. I don't go there.
Well,
I don't personally get any kick out of that when I attend one of those. I already know I can do it. I don't need you to tell me that, right? Tell me how. And so I focus mostly on the how. So I would not say I'm a Mr. Motivation in that sense. I just want to motivate people to be able to reach their employees and motivate them, because that's the key as far as I'm concerned.
Well, a lot of people, get motivation from different ways. Yeah, there's some who need the rah-rah, but I'm more like you, where I need concrete stuff that I can look at and go, oh, okay, that's how I do it. I could listen to like the Tony Robbins kind of guys, and I'm like, yeah, no, I do not relate to you at all. You're entertaining, but I cannot relate to you.
Yeah. Well, and everybody's not the same. I get that, but I'm not going that route. I'm going the route of this is how you do it. And when you hear it and you walk through it, and then if you read the book and you live through it that way, then you gain confidence just by thinking to yourself, well, this isn't so hard. I know what I got to do now. It's not a great mystery. And that's what you want to do. Is in training managers or business owners, we want to eliminate the mystery of this. It is a formula. It's a process, a method. But it's important because you really cannot achieve much without really getting the whole team working together.
And I think that is the perfect way to end our conversation, because that goes with everything. What me and Larry do with filmmaking, what someone who runs a local restaurant, or even families, I feel, could learn from this. If you've got a big family, you should be maybe running it a little bit like this to keep everybody motivated towards stuff. Do you have anything in closing, Larry?
No, actually, I just want to say thank you. And I wish we had more time. I certainly would like to put my vote for you. And if anybody has a small business out there, and Gary, just having met you, just through our interview, I mean, you sound like a super. So first of all, you sound like you're a super nice guy, and and you and you are a motivator, because you're motivating. I know you're motivating me through our talks about getting my act together. And I think anybody that is wanting to learn more about business should definitely buy the book. But also, I mean, give Gary a shout out and have him come talk to your small business group anywhere. And Gary, I want to toot our own horn. We are international. We've talked to a filmmaker, a film festival in Australia, so we are international now. So just you wait and see.
And I'll go anywhere that people speak English. So
exactly, that's what I was going to say.
I'm up the creek otherwise.
You wait and see. You're going to start getting calls, and people. I know you're doing good, and you've done good, but I think you're going to do even more super great stuff, and I can't wait. And I would love to have you back on if you have anything else you want to share with us, anything you're doing. Now I must say, you can get your book, and you have several books, by the way. And so we see where there's so much stuff to talk about, but your book is your Express Exec book. You can get it on Amazon, and all that stuff will be
Barnes and Noble and everywhere else for the most part.
Yeah.
My other books are all on Amazon for the most part.
Perfect. And your links will be in the description, how to get a hold of you and everything. And I just want to say one more time, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It was fun talking with you. And anybody wants to call me, I'll talk to anybody for 15, 20 minutes and see if I can do anything for you.
Absolutely. The first consultation is free.
Yes.
Kind of. All right. Thank you very much. And have a great night, Gary. Thank you. Go ahead, Eric. Wrap us up.
Everybody have a safe and happy and awesome week or weekend. Good night, everybody.